went actually to the palace, tried to look for the Queen Mother a couple of times, but as you all know, she's a very busy woman, so we couldn't get audience, but we were directed to the Trafuahini, who was leading in charge of this whole operation. And let's not forget, this is not a Semenshia thing. This happened to everybody that had goats in Brekum.
Yeah.
So I know most of you are concerned whether we were targeted or whether this was just...
Yeah, that is a question I wanted to ask.
Yes, it's not a targeted, it's a tradition thing, it's a spiritual thing that the community of Brekum has decided to on behalf of the Nananum. So we went to see the Trafuahini, and that was when the engagement started and the conversation, and the 2 weeks ultimatum was given to us. And since then, all we've been doing is pleading for more time.
So who do you plead to?
To the Trafuahini. So he was the one leading the operation. So we went to him and even pleaded with him to come and see for himself what we are doing, so that he will be able to understand the reason why we are pleading for time, And so he came and then saw it and then said he's going to talk to Nananum and get back to us. And he did and got back to us. And that's when he says, now we have 2 weeks. And to me, that was what was shocking, because I felt like after seeing that, he would rather give us more time, right? But he claims that there's been announcements, we saw them come to kill Snazzy goats, and so the information has been out there for too long. And we're like, but this is the first time we have been summoned about this. From us, all what we've heard is goals that were walking astray.
TV, promoting African business is home and abroad. TV, the best in the full way to sell your brand to the world. TV, promoting African business.
Keep watching Kwamina TV, like, subscribe, and share. Today I'm here at Semenshia Farm's main office in Accra, Achimota, and I think this area is just close to the DVLA in Achimota. So if you are looking for the place, it's just DVLA in Achimota. And you guys have asked me a lot of questions on the video that I posted. Get your goats out of my land, our land, immediately. And he's here today to answer most of the questions. What is next? So leave comments and keep following us. So let's talk to Mr. Fred, the CEO of Semenshia Farms. Keep watching. Mr. Fred, I'm very happy to meet you again.
You're welcome.
After the conversation we had in the farm.
Yeah.
That's the reason why I'm here. There's a lot of questions that people are asking me.
Okay.
And I think in your office here, you're going to give me a lot of answers.
Okay. Hopefully I can answer some of the questions that your viewers have, and clear some minds and put some minds to ease. So why don't you dive into it?
Okay. Well, first, I want to know from you, what is the next? Because the last time you said there was 2 weeks, given which we have already, when I came there was already 1 week gone.
Yeah.
And within this 1 week, there's a lot of news over there. Bruno, regional minister or something like that, they all came there, some big government official came there. Just dive into you straight. What happened? Has anything come?
So the 2 weeks has already elapsed, and nothing has come out yet. I think, as you rightly said, a lot of people have gotten involved. The regional minister, the MC, and everybody. And the decision is still sitting with Nananum. I think the information I have is Nananum will hold a meeting on this, and then they will get back to us with feedback. So we're looking at 2 options. One is hopefully they will give us more time to prepare and then pick the few goats. As you already know, we have only few left that we're going to use for our breeding program and take it to a different farm, or Nananum are able to do something to please the gods, to allow goat trailing to happen in Brekum. Who knows? So at the moment we are still waiting on them for that feedback, and then we'll decide what to do next.
Okay. There's another question that before my mind, and also people are calling me for it. We have a lot of diaspora community, diaspora people in Brekum and surrounding area. Let's say in Lebanon.
Yeah.
Had they anyone contact you to offer their help, or I mean to talk to you about it, because there's a lot of people who also have different types of farms over there.
Yeah.
Had there anyone contact you in terms of that?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think there's been numerous of people, have reached out to us, offering us help from every angle, from land, to emotional support, connecting us to the right people who can intervene on our behalf, to the extreme of even support spiritually. So it's been everywhere, and I think I've been in touch with I think the Brekum diasporans have an association.
Yeah.
I've been in touch with most of them, where they've also offered their support, whether through kind words, whether through people they know, and so on. So I think it's been something that a lot of people have had concern about, and have come together to see how best we can all resolve this amicably. I think what I keep on telling people is I don't want to fight. From day one, I have accepted the order. All what I've been asking for is for more time, because if Nananum had given me more time like I asked for, then I will still have my business, because that time will help me prepare and move my business. But because the time was so low, I can't have a business. I need to close down my business and start again. And to me, that was the painful part of it. So all the help that are coming in are great. People offering me land, people offering me communities, but in 2 weeks I can't build anything on that land. That I don't think was my problem. And people come in and say, you haven't even asked us for anything, and I said, what I needed this time, that's what I've been asking for. I have lands in different places that I could have moved to, but you can't move over 250 goats in 2 weeks to anywhere, and that was a problem. But all the help have been coming from all the various angles in different forms.
Okay. Guys, I think this will be one of your answers that you asked me, my audience. But then also, there are also some people that what I'm asking now, it's questions that people ask me.
Sure, go ahead.
People also are saying, will you continue to help them, those who want to come into farming?
Yeah.
Some people even told me they bought their ticket and they want to come. It's on my comment section, and the guy that asked me, this is the question that I'm asking you now. Would you continue to give that your support if someone want to go into any type of animal farming, or especially the goats, here in Ghana or outside?
Yeah, I think of course, yes. The knowledge still exists. We've accrued a lot of knowledge because we have intentionally specialized in something with the purpose of actually training and expanding. I haven't said this in public before, but I'm going to share it with you and hopefully with your audience. I think the vision of what we are trying to do actually goes beyond what people have just seen. The goal wasn't just to start a goat farm and sell goats. The goal was to educate people, inspire people about the best way of doing livestock farming. So with that vision in mind, our goal wasn't just in Brekum or in Sinase, right? So a couple of years, maybe a year ago, I actually purchased a land in the Eastern region. I purchased a land in the Northern region, right? And the goal is to be able to build these model farms across Ghana, where it's so easy for people to just come there, see a farm that is working, see how we build our structure, how we build our fences, the medication plan, the feeding plan, the pasture plan, the management system we have in place, and be able to learn and take that model to their farm, whether it be in small scale, medium scale, or large scale, right? So what we were on the journey to do, the experiment and the learnings was happening in Brekum, but the goal was to really expand it across the country. So we were in the process of plotting ourselves in all the regions and even beyond Ghana, so that we can continue with our education. So this is just a branch that has just been cut off in a way, if that's what you want to look at it. But our goal goes beyond just Brekum and the Bono region.
So basically you want to tell me that Brekum will have been the center?
It would have been the genesis of everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
Do you think Nananum or our gods don't want development?
I think they do want development. A lot of things has changed, and I'm not sure whether who was telling me this, maybe one of the calls or on somewhere, but you know, we had a lot of traditions in the olden days, but they've all revolved, they've all changed. You're from Brekum area, so
I'm from around there.
Good. So we actually have a place where we call Chiriba in Brekum, right? And in the olden days, it was actually called Chiribra because there was a river there. So you know, women weren't allowed there, right? But now you go to Chiriba and it's filled with men and women, you know,
moving around,
living there. So do you go into this community and ask, can I live here as a woman because in the olden days it was called Chiribra, right? No, because we've moved past that development. You know, in those days that place was probably forest where the gods were there, so it was easy to control the movement of people. But now Brekum is big, you know, communities are big. So the goals wants development, but certain rules and traditions that we had in the days, as we grow, we need to find ways. And I think the gods also see the growth. The gods, if they have eyes, are also seeing that things are changing. Our people now cannot just rely on the things they were getting in the bush. They need money. Olden days there was no money, exchange of goods and services. So the gods are also seeing that. So how do we coexist peacefully and make sure that we are still able to develop as a country, as a continent, as communities, whilst also respecting and working hand in hand with the goals of our communities, right? So I don't think they hate development. I think we just need to be in contact whilst we developed, so that even though you're doing the right thing, even though if you want to build something good for a community, you cannot build that without informing the right people.
That's true.
Even though it's good, you know. When I started the school, I brought everybody on board, the Ministry of Education, the community, we were, so even though it's a good thing, you can't just stand up and say, oh, there is a piece of land here, let me just You go and you buy it and you do the paperwork and so on. So I think even though we want to do good, the gods, we need to stay in touch and make sure that, their taboos and stuff are also, in a way, acknowledged, even if you are going to amend them, right? So I guess I've gone round and round, but that's the short answer to your question.
Wow. Okay. And also, I think today there will be more questions than this, and that's why I kept quiet. I don't want to ask just the questions.
Yeah.
And also, the people in Brekum, which some of them call me, some of them in diaspora that they call me. Some of them say they want to get in touch with you, but they can't get you. Like, it's difficult for them to reach you. Some have even sent people personally to you, but you are not been able to reach them because they want to talk to you, to know your view.
Yeah.
and also go to Nananum because even to give you time, it's very important. But they couldn't reach you. I don't want to mention name, but I will tell you the name outside of this thing. But this should be, I mean, it should be known by the people. What effort and all those.
I think we also need to acknowledge that the same person that wants to get in touch with me, there are other 10, 20, 30, 40 people who are also trying. Those time, it was just a weekend, like it was back and forth. I don't even know how my number went. I went to Facebook and somebody had put like a question, who knows the number of the CEO of Sementia Farm, and people were just putting it there. Some people were connecting him to somebody that I know and all that, and so the calls were plenty. I try my best to pick as much as I can, but I can't do everything. I can only stay on the phone for 24 hours. So aside that, if you call within that 24 hours, I will not be able to pick. And that's why I do things like this with you, so that people will understand my view, because I know that I cannot speak to every person. Right? Exactly. And that's why through our YouTube channel as well, we've been putting information out there so that people are updated. I do understand and acknowledge that people have concerns, they have questions, and I respect and want to thank all of you guys for your support and everything. But I'm also a human, right? And I have only 24 hours, so I tried. But obviously, through your channel, I hope we will be able to explain things to people. People can get answers from various channels and platforms and equip themselves. But my team is available. We have a company line as well. That is available for people to reach out. Personally, maybe not speak to me, but you can speak to a member of my team and get the information you need.
Okay, then let me let my audience to know that next time I think I will put your
number.
Communications number on my screen. So that people will just call you directly. A lot of them calls me as well, but I mean, I thank you for calling me as well, but then leave comments and also get their contact straight away. Call them so that they will give you every information that they want. Let's go back to our... I want to ask you this again. What exactly did you yourself did when that information came? And also, did you know that... I'm asking this question because some people say you knew that they don't build goats there, but you did it. Did you know, as you are growing up in Sinase or in Brekum, did you know that this thing exists over there, that there's no goat? As you are going to do it in a large quantity. And also as an entrepreneur, if you are going to do such things that you have to dig down and know what is do and what is don't over there. Did you know something like this before then?
I think I've said this so many times from day one, is that as a native of Brekum, yes, it was part of the traditions that we were told as kids, that goats were not allowed. But even that, I think it was selected communities. There are some communities that goats have never been there, and it's in Brekum. There are some communities that they forever had goats in Brekum. This order now is for the entire Brekum land.
Okay.
So you understand. So this order is not from just my community. It's for every single land in Brekum. So we need to acknowledge that. So you could be in a community in Brekum that had goats since day one, but at the moment, the Nananum says it's the whole
Brekum district.
So wherever you are, you are affected. You understand? We have travelers, that came from the north with their goats and came to settle in day one, and they've always had goats.
In Zongo,
wherever, even in Snasi, there are small farming communities that are filled with travelers from the north that came with their goats, and it's affecting everybody. So Was I aware? Obviously, yes. As kids, they would tell us the taboos and stuff. As I always give an example, like dogs. Dog, as a kid, they told me that dogs in the olden days wasn't even allowed in Senase. But as I speak to you now, there's dog in everybody's house. You know, I had a dog when I was a little boy. I would take it to farm every day and come with it. So sometimes I feel like, yes, it's okay to point fingers and say, oh, you knew. But if you were in my shoes, and the same way I gave the example of, like, there are some towns that in the olden days, when you give birth to a certain, I don't know, you know,
I got what you mean.
it will be killed or whatever. So now when you're going to give birth, you seek permission. You know, so if you were in my shoes, these are not things that will, not the fact that everybody also had goat. So it wasn't like, oh, nobody had goats and I went to start a goat farm. Then it would have been, okay, I knew what I was doing, right? And the farm actually didn't start as goats. We started with cows. And our cow grew to a point that our land was too small for the cows. And you know, I didn't want my cow going out destroying people's farm. So I said, with this land, I can do more goats. So I sold the cows, and that's when I even introduced goats. So the intention, even just like any business, you know, you might start with this, but you realize it doesn't work. Let me move into this and that, right? So yes, I could take some of the blame that maybe, and this has been a lesson to me and everybody, that tradition could always come back and bite you depending on who is the chief, who is not, what the chiefs believe in, what they do not believe in. So to me, I think it's a lesson that I had to learn the hard way, and I'm sure to most of you as well. I can promise you that most of you are even in a town that are doing stuff that didn't used to be in the past. But because your current chief has allowed it, tomorrow might not be.
That is the question I wanted to ask the next, but you have answered it already, because it could happen that there are some people who want to know, because it could happen like today is good, tomorrow will be pig, or will be some cattle or something like that. So in terms of all these things that is going wrong, what is your advice to someone outside there who want to come and invest in any type of farming? We are in farming session, so what would be your advice? Because you know my aim, Partner TV's aim is to bring people close to our areas. You asked a question, let me quickly answer that question. You asked me whether I'm a Brekum citizen of Brekum or around. Honestly, I'm Fanti, but I've grown up in that area.
Okay.
So when I come back to Ghana, that is my area.
That's cool.
I don't think where you are or where you were born is exactly your home, where you are happy. That is where it's home. So that is just to clear it. Give me the advice of.
I've always said this, even to my fellow Ghanaians that are abroad, and when I was in school, when I was in the US, UK, I would say Africa has a lot of challenges, but those challenges are what presents the opportunities. Right? If you go to the developed world where a lot of the things and problems are solved, the competition is higher. So it's hard to make it. But because in Africa the challenges are the problem, it also offers an opportunity for you to solve that problem quickly. I was telling one of my friends in the US when I was building the school, and he couldn't believe me that I built the school in less than 6 months. It's like, no, in the US you have to do this, do that, do this, do that, and even to get a permit and so on and so forth. So those are some of the things. So I think we come into the country, and if you're coming into the country, it's a risk that you need to weigh and say, how do I reduce that risk to a minimum and harness the opportunity that exists, right? A lot of investors know, even like the instability in a lot of African countries, the disaster, so many things that could happen. But you say, hey, the opportunity is here, it's huge. Yeah, there could be a risk, but what if it doesn't? If I can reduce that risk, then we go and pick the opportunity, utilize it. So my advice to people is that the opportunity still exists. Things like this is what help us create awareness, help us learn, and then we move on. So the opportunity is not gone; it still exists. But try your best to do your research. Try your best to, do the best you can to reduce that risk that exists, because the risk is everywhere, but it depends on, the volume of it, right? If I had done a business plan, whatever, I don't think I would have ever considered taboo as a risk to my business. But hey, here we are, So how do we look at the brighter side and still look at the opportunity that exists, reduce the risk, and still take advantage of that opportunity? So I don't think people should give up. There's still hope, and it doesn't mean what has happened to me will happen to everyone. I've met with certain chiefs, and people are very excited about this. Not everybody's against it. Not every community is against it. So you find your place, and as you said, home is where you're welcome and feel happy.
The next, what about the stretches? You have invested a lot in that stretches.
Yeah.
A lot of people are interested in it. They are feeling, they sympathize with you.
Yeah.
But at the same time, what are you going to do with it? People ask me, why don't you move into different, like maybe bring back the cattle,
Yeah.
or piggery, as you said, you have the stretchers, but you didn't, and even the poultry.
I think that's a question a lot of people have been asking, and also suggestions to me. And I tell them this, that I think we forget sometimes why we do farming. People do farming as a hobby because they love a certain crop, animal, and then they do it. Other people do it, as a business, and to do it as a business, you need to identify a market, right? And then you go into it. People also have no choice; they do it because that's what their land actually allows them to do. Certain crops you can grow in certain places. Certain animals you can rear them at certain places. So to me, when those suggestions come, I look at the cattle people are suggesting. For me to do proper intensive farming on my land, I can only keep maybe 3, 4, 5 calves. And that whole land is too small to be able to use it for a proper intensive cattle farm. So it's not viable. 3, 5 cows is not worth my time to do that. Sheep is the next closest animal to goats in terms of feeding, in terms of management, space, and all that. But I don't even know how sheep meat tastes like. I don't personally like sheep. No offense to people that do sheep, but personally, I've never been excited about sheep. I don't really know the sheep markets in Ghana. If we go to the abattoir in Brekum or here, I'm sure, I don't know if they're shipping sheep there. I know sheep is a seasonal business, when there are festivals coming, that's when people. So as a businessman, that's not something that I really am thinking about, So I hear people, but I think at the moment, I don't want to rush into anything. The only thing I've put out there is to the Agric Directorate in Brekum, that my facility for now will be available to them if they want to utilize it for any government projects. I'm happy to work with them, to have discussion with them for them to utilize it. But at the moment, I don't, because I want to do my goats and I'm going to relocate. And if I do relocate, I want to give it my full attention and not spread myself too thin.
Let's go into your feeds. The feed, the grass and all those things that you use to feed people.
Yeah.
My people want to know that they still get it. Or you're going to stop everything.
Oh
at the
no,
moment?
no. So that's a whole other business on its own. So Sementia Farm was a breeding and learning farm, right? The production of the feed and the seed is still available. Once they contact us or come to our shop, they'll be able to get some. I think what we're doing is needed. You go 50 years back into livestock farming and you look at now, there's been no difference in how we were doing livestock farming 50 years ago and now. We are bringing that revolution. So it goes beyond, as I said, Brecombs, Nancy, Sementia farms, right? And that if you look at the vision from that angle, then you know that this is just, a branch that is just chopped off. This is a whole tree on its own, right? Until the tree itself is uprooted, then it still goes on. So the seeds are available. I know we are about to enter into the rainy season, and people need to start planting it. There's already an issue in Brecon with the forestries and the Fulani herdsmen, and so on.
Because of this,
Exactly.
House,
Exactly. So this is the solution, and that is what we are bringing. So we still continue. So if you want to go into livestock farming, then we are happy to work with you, help you establish your pasture, training, and everything, so that you can have a successful farm.
Another question again about this, the diasporas also in Britain. You said they have a community. I think they have it all over, even in MK they have it. Some of them are still debating about how fast you move your destiny. Yeah, because of the there was a short news from I think Joy TV or something like this. They went to Snase Chief, which is the continent.
Yeah.
And he said, you have not even been there. They don't even know, they are not ready to. I mean, totally said that you don't know anything about this. I saw just that you said it was concerned. So it's like a mixed feeling. People are thinking, why? Fred is saying, Sementia Farms is saying stories. Some of the person is also, which one of the elders also saying it's not so. Can you clear that a bit for people to know?
Sure. So I saw the Joy News, and the person, the Joy News journalist actually called me to say, this is the information I have, and I said, okay, that's interesting. We were invited to the palace of Snase, and that is where all the elders of Snase. It was actually a meeting for them to plan the Queen Mother's funeral. So that was the meeting that they invited.
The one they did
recently, yes. So that's the meeting that they invited my mom and my family manager. As I said, I wasn't in the country by then, to that meeting. And all the chiefs and elders of Snase community said this is the information they have from Brecon, an order from Brecon to them, and they have to adhere, because if they don't, it's like they're actually the ones harboring me and entertaining this. So they are relaying a message from the Brecon palace to me, and that is where we accepted the information and then proceeded to Brecon. In terms of a chief in Snase saying he has no idea about it, I think I'm not here to get into chieftaincy business.
Why is it that?
Because it's not my business. I have a very good relationship with the community of Snase due to the school, and I was invited into a palace. So if the chief says he doesn't know, then I think the way is to call his members in the palace, all of them, and say, hey, how did you invite this man here without my consent? Or how do you host a meeting with this man without me? Or whatever, and then recall the meeting again and I will come. right? But if that doesn't happen, I think I would rather stay and deal with the palace, because I think if somebody's looking for you, where do they go? They come to your house. And to me, the palace is where the elders are, and that's where I went. Not me per se, but that's where we went as a company to be called and be given this news. And since there, that's what we've been dealing with. And they actually asked us if we have anything to say, we should go to Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Right, so then we were directed to Brooklyn, where we.
That is the Senase Palace.
Yes.
Directed you to
Yes.
Brooklyn. That is the main.
Exactly, because that's where the order came from.
So basically, for Senase, you met with the elders in the palace, and they said if you need any more information, then you need to go to Brooklyn.
Exactly.
And did you go?
Yeah. So we went actually to the palace, tried to look for the queen mother a couple of times. But as you all know, she's a very busy woman, so we couldn't get audience, but we were directed to the Traforhini, who was leading in charge of this whole operation. And let's not forget, this is not a Semenshia thing. You know, this happened to everybody that had goats in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
So I know most of you are concerned whether we were targeted or whether this was just.
Yeah, that is a question I wanted to ask.
Yes, it's not a targeted, it's a tradition thing, it's a spiritual thing that the community of Brooklyn has decided to on behalf of the Nananum. So we went to see the Trafoine, and that was when the engagement started and the conversation, and the 2 weeks ultimatum was given to us. And since then, all we've been doing is pleading for more time.
So who do you plead to? After that?
To the Trafoine. So he was the one leading the operation. So we went to him and even pleaded with him to come and see for himself what we are doing, so that he will be able to understand the reason why we are pleading for time, And so he came and then saw it and then said he's going to talk to Nananum and get back to us. And he did and got back to us. And that's when he says, now we have 2 weeks. And to me, that was what was shocking, because I felt like after seeing that, he would rather give us more time, right? But he claims that there's been announcements, we saw them come to kill Snazzy goats, and so the information has been out there for too long. And we're like, but this is the first time we have been summoned about this. From us, all what we've heard is goats that were walking astray, and that's why he didn't even come to our farm during this operation. So this is the first time we actually officially, and now I wasn't even in the country, so they have to call me and let me know so that we can make arrangement, and that's why we're asking for all this time. But then, it was like after 2-3 times still pleading, and it's like no, we decided okay. Then, I came down and said, let's then go and start again somewhere. So let's sell. So I came on YouTube not to really plead. If you watch my first video, I wasn't asking for anything, because when I came on YouTube, I had made my mind. The background conversation behind the scene have been happening and hasn't yielded any results. So I didn't come on YouTube actually to ask for anything. It was to inform my audience that hey, Semenshia Farm is going to go on hold, because we've been asked. Conversations have happened, it had yielded no results, and therefore we are going to be closing down, and we'll let you know what our next move is. And then people were like, no, what's going on? How could this happen? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so throughout this, it was just me letting my followers know that, just like you, if in case today the police even decide to seize all your equipment and you cannot film again, and they say, oh, in 1 week, you're not allowed to go on TV anymore, what would you do?
Yeah. That is it. Because
but I'm sure you will go online and tell your people that, hey,
first of all, I have to just let them know before.
Exactly. Kwamna TV for 1 week will not be anymore, because you've been asked not to be on TV anymore, be in front of the camera. And that's exactly what we did. So we did it with the mindset of try everything.
That means you have accepted,
and then
so
yeah.
you just want to move.
Exactly.
Okay, so those guys, this question is going to come again because it's a lot about this. Those guys coming in, those from outside the country who trying to offer you a place, will you think about moving everything from Ghana or going outside? Because there's a lot of those things. I mean, it may be a funny question, but I think it's
Yeah, there's a lot. There's been a lot of offer from Kenya, Uganda, Sierra Leone, Nigeria. I've spoken to a lot of people. You know, some just want the knowledge that we have and say, come with that knowledge and partnership, something for you to just do it and continue with the work you're doing. So there've been those offers, and as I said, our dream goes beyond just Brekum and Snase, Ghana. It's for the whole of Africa, So we are looking at all the options. I don't want to sit here and limit myself to Brekum or to Ghana or to even Africa, but I think the solution and the journey we were embarking on is something that could help. I was even surprised the number of Philippines that were watching me. I was surprised.
Yes.
I never knew, but it's the economy. They also starting small like us, So, I mean, we created the borders. I don't think when God created us, He put borders around them.
No.
So if I have something that I could share with the world, I mean, why not? Our musicians are pushing their music to the world. Why can't I push agriculture to the world? And why do I have to limit myself to Ghana or to Brooklyn? So I think I was starting from home, but that doesn't mean my journey ends at home.
Yeah, okay. I think I had enough, but I still have questions which I don't want to take the rest of your time. But I'm asking this question again. If you have opportunity for the situation that you have been in, if you have opportunity to become one of the government officials, what will you do in terms of farming? Because we all know that farming builds the country.
Yeah.
What will you do?
I think as a people, we just need to take farming seriously, right? I think farming is still very looked upon downly, and how do we take it seriously? I think it starts with our leaders. I know most of our leaders have farms, and how many people know about even that farm, right? In our communities, how are farming and farmers seen? Even our award system with farmers. I met a farmer yesterday who said he got the best farmer, I can't remember the year, and he says, I took car and tricycle to the award and I came back with a bicycle. And that he was with me yesterday, and I was like, okay, so I think a lot needs to be done in the agri sector, and we will take all stakeholders coming together to say, hey, our food is important. Food security is a priority. How do we do that? And I think I told you the last time we talked that, the first thing I would do is every community needs to have a land dedicated for farming. The same way when we are planning the community, we dedicate for hospital, schools, even for recreational parks. Now we don't dedicate for farming. So if a youth is ready to go into farming, what are the terms and conditions available for that youth to be able to actually do farming?
Do you think he has to put in some money for research for farmers?
I think they
Like
do.
the way you are in this modern world, not in the olden days, this model. Do you think they have to make a special budget for that?
I think they do. Because if they don't do, I'll be surprised. I think there is a budget for research. I think there are a lot of institutions that are doing a lot of research. I think Legon has one, KNUST has one, the Wanchi Livestock. I think there was one at Franklin's as well. They do. I think what is not can be improved is more publicity, more education. And I think I'm actually the first, YouTuber to focus purely on agriculture, right? So I'm very happy now. A lot of the young ones are coming, but it's like agriculture wasn't talked about. We wasn't exhibiting the beauty of agriculture, the innovation, the good stuff that people are doing. A lot of our ministers have farms, cashew, cocoa, pineapple, mango, but who knows about it? How are they, the publicity, when somebody builds a factory, people know about it. But how is that factory being fed? It's fed from the farm. So, if we don't feed it, the factory will collapse. So I think there's more publicity, and I'm hoping that through this avenue, the publicity that this good thing has gotten will shake the agriculture sector a little bit for us to get the acknowledgement and the publicity that farmers need across the country, to encourage them and encourage more people to go into farming.
Thank you very much, Mr. Fred. I don't want to take much of your time. I've said it again. I'm not going to ask you any question again. But guys, leave comments on this. I hope I've answered or I've asked all your questions. If not, just leave it at the comment section, and I'm going to come to Fred's place. We live not too far from each other right now from here that I'm sitting at the studio. I will come back again and ask those questions. And if it's anything at all you also want to know, I will leave the number and the contact on the screen so that you can also contact him direct. Any question you can ask him direct. And if you can't, just come back to Kwamina TV and I will go direct as your messenger and ask for you. Thank you, Mr. Fred.
Thank you very much.
Keep watching Kwamina TV. Like, subscribe, and share. I'm still the youngest boy. I love you.